So it's later, and I'm going to try to do some explaining and some examples of how I would definitely apply this idea of knowing midlines and diagonals and whatnot to help construct um, something symmetrical like a bottle or a vase or a bowl. Because one of the trickiest parts of drawing one of those is really understanding really how to relate one side to the other side. Um, so let me see if I can do something kind of semi helpful and quick. I will set up anytime I'm drawing a symmetrical object, one if not the most important thing I would argue is having a center line, a center axis, because really when we're doing anything that's symmetrical, we need to be able to relate it to this center. We need to relate one side to the center and then this side to the center so that we know that these sides make sense. Hopefully that will be a little bit more clear as I continue on here. So I'm just setting up my construction lines. I'm kind of eyeballing now to see if hopefully that this is actually, all my lines are indeed straight up and down. I don't think they're perfect, but that's okay. And that this midline is indeed in the middle. I was guessing, but I want to be a little bit more confident. So I'm going to do my crisscross here. So indeed it wasn't. An example of how not to do it. Kidding aside, that's why you do this. So now I have that. Hopefully that's a little bit more accurate. I'll do that one as well. And I'm also going to finish up this with the diamond shape on top, and these are just additional construction guides to help me relate any point on here to a point that I want to understand and make sure is accurate as well. So oftentimes, if you're drawing a bottle, one side is off. Something doesn't jive up. There's a lot of curves and stuff that make it challenging, but this idea of going along these, using these guides to help make sure that things are corresponding with each other is a very helpful idea. So if, for example, I decide that the top of my bottle, I'm going to place one side there. I could measure, and I probably would measure. I probably might guess first if this about where this point would be. But one way to help check that would be to do something like this, where I could draw that down, and when it runs into that angle, come back over here, and where this intersects, And I can already see that indeed, once again, it's a good thing I'm doing this. So it was close. And that may not be exact, but I'm a lot more confident now that I sort of just did this little quick connection here. And indeed, perhaps I'll just continue on with this idea right there of that being kind of maybe the top of the bottle. I mean the spout, the top cylinder. And maybe I want a bottle that sort of angles out this way and then maybe takes a little more steep angle that way, and then maybe more of a gradual thing about down there, and then perhaps I'll have the bottom be about right there. So I can definitely, I can figure out a lot of this side and how it relates to this side merely by creating horizontal level lines. So I make sure that I know that this is corresponding to this. If it's on the edge like this, that's relatively easy. But if it's sitting out here, it's sort of not on the edge and not on any existing line, then I sort of need to make up my own. So what I can do is create my own sort of triangle, connect a point I know and a point I know, and see where those intersect with another line that I know. And then begin relating that to the other side. So now I've created this angled line, this triangle, so I know everything that falls along here is straight across from everything falling on this one. So that point would fall right about there. Sometimes I will take, depending on where this point is, I'll take it from the point I know and create a triangle from here, or I'll create a triangle from here. For example, if there was another, let's say this was going to angle in, maybe that'll be kind of fun too, just so, because this one I did the example from understanding from the center and creating a triangle that way. But just as often, if not more often, it'll be creating a triangle going to the midline, starting from one of the end points, the widest out points. Creating that. And then knowing that that point corresponds with that point. Let's continue. I'll do the just the horizontal guide here for this point. And you know, I could eyeball it and kind of think that would be in about that much probably. But if I want to be a little bit more confident, I would find a point that I am confident of. Perhaps that one. Run it through the point I want to be more confident of. See where it intersects. Bring that across. And it should line up about there. I'm being a little bit non-exact and just sort of finding all these points. But that's the idea. And let me see for this one. The more you do this, the more, every time you make a line, you're introducing some sort of error. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do with that one. Another example of how it gets confusing. When you get confused, go, oh, that's right. It's supposed to be confusing. I just wanted to sort of go up here, just use my verticals and my horizontals. I didn't need to use a fancy triangle for that one. Come across here. And then relate this one down here. So I'm going to clarify sort of the points of this imaginary bottle that I'm apparently designing on the fly. I wonder how it's going to be. But now I'm going to just initially start connecting these dots. Eventually I'm going to very much want to relate one side to the other in a curvilinear fashion, but this will get me off to a great start. In making sure that this bottle has a sporting chance of actually appearing symmetrical. More stuff on bottles and vases and bowls and stuff later. But the idea is being able to make sure I can correspond one side to the other side through these, with the use of these construction lines. And then get rid of them. You get the point. I hope you get the point. If not, send me a message. Okay. Apparently I'm I'm not leaving. Okay, really. Bye.